Hello everyone. For those of you who have not heard, the ranked season has been extended for a couple of days, and that means we have a little bit more time with the maps that are on the current ranked ladder pool. So I'm coming to you today with a guide for Gorge and specifically using the civilization Rus. I think it's a really easy strategy. I'm going to be going very specifically into detail here. So if you're not familiar with Rus, I suggest, give it a try. It really is not very complicated, and I'm going to be trying to lay it out as kind of step by step as I can. And if you are familiar with Rus, maybe you'll pick up a couple of nuggets of wisdom that I throw in here and there over the course of this particular game. But hopefully this helps you grab those last couple of points that you need and you deserve on your way to the final rank of the season. So let's jump right into things here. The beginning with Rus is probably the most complicated part, and then it's smooth sailing from there. So you immediately move 5 villagers over onto a straggler tree, and the 6th villager goes onto the wood line to build a hunting cabin. In the case of Gorge, this is really easy because your wood line is always behind you, of course. I get a little bit unlucky where my wood line is kind of split here, but it ends up being better because I do get some trees here as well. So I drop off wood here and immediately move back over to the sheep. The first villager I rally goes out and builds this hunting cabin. As soon as these villagers drop off that wood, you have enough wood to build this. So he was walking, and then just about here when they dropped off, he then has enough to build the hunting cabin. Again, you want to make sure that these circles don't overlap. So I'm kind of doing my best here. I think there might have been a tiny bit there, but I did my absolute best. You then rally directly onto the food for the rest of the time, and it's as simple as that. This villager builds a house and then moves back over to the food, and this villager just moves back over to the food as soon as they're done. My scouting pattern on Gorge is kind of like this. I like to be very aggressive, especially with Rus, because you'll be building additional scouts to take more vision control and more sheep on the map. So I usually go all the way down to this side and then loop back on this and collect as many sheep as I can back along the way. And then I kind of have one whole side scouted, and then I use my scouts that are coming from the hunting cabins to then scout the other side, and this one will drop off these sheep at around the time when I'm running out of sheep underneath my town center from the originals. Now I'm bad, and so I didn't end up immediately queuing up this scout. You should be doing that much earlier than I did just there. Almost managed to take out his scout. Unfortunately, don't quite manage it. Just a little bit of health left on that one. But you can see I'm now building one scout here, and shortly there'll be another 3rd scout coming out on this hunting cabin as well. And those scouts are just going to be heading off in this direction to try and collect as many sheep as I possibly can. Now, if you're not super comfortable with all of the APM actions, it's very simple to just kind of right-click your scout along and then just let it do its thing. I do like to do it a bit more manually to see if I can cut off my enemy scout. I know he went that way, so I'm trying to, maneuver as best as I can to collect these sheep up along this side, and I eventually grab, these 2 here and a couple more down around this side. So as you can see, still rallying directly onto the food. There's nothing else you want to do. And eventually, once you do have enough resources, you're going to be going up with 4 with the Golden Gate. We'll speed things up just ever so slightly here. You can see I have this 3rd scout coming along. He's going to be looping around on this side to try and collect any sheep that he can. And my opponent, you can see, is the Order of the Dragon. He's going up with the Minework Palace. I send my scout that just dropped off the sheep up through the middle here to collect some of the sheep that are kind of just sitting, uncollected in the middle of the map. And I do scout out that he is going the Minework Palace. I'm expecting professional scouts, but could potentially also be a castle burger rush to catch me off guard. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. But so far, this is just telling me that he's definitely looking to be a bit more aggressive with the minework as opposed to super passive with that Aachen Chapel maybe in the back over on this corner. So I'm going up with 4 on the Golden Gate, and you can see I have started to rally onto the wood. So as soon as you start building this, and again I'm building it 2 tiles away from my town center so I can surround it with farms later on, I move 6 of my food villagers over onto the straggler tree that's closest to the wood line, and then I rally an additional 2 workers onto the wood for a total of 8. You can see with this villager who's over here building this house, this is a total of 8, and then I go back to rallying onto food. So that's it. So you want to go 6 onto wood, rally 2 more villagers onto that wood, and then come back onto the food at that point. Just coming back, dropping off my sheep. I find my final deer pack down here in the back corner, building up my lumber camp, getting things ready to go. And then I realized, well, this is my safe deer pack. I'm pretty confident I'm going to be able to grab this. How about I try and be a little bit more aggressive and kind of go up towards this? So I then rally my scouts up towards the front to see if I can take care of this deer pack up here. He gets up to feudal age a little bit before me, but I'm not worried about that at all. And now, I immediately, upon the Golden Gate building, press the X button to sell 100 wood for 150 gold. In this strategy, I never touch gold a single time throughout the entire game, which is insane. And it's why Rus is one of the strongest civilizations currently, because I did not even need to go out on the gold. I simply use the Golden Gate, and I use the passive gold I generate from collecting the harvested meat from sheep and deer to sustain myself. But I immediately sell 100 wood for 150 gold so that I have enough gold to go with professional scouts. And I'm just waiting for 100 wood to come in. You can see it's dropped off, and immediately I queue that up right there. I move my scouts forward, and then I see that he has built a single spearman. So here I'm thinking, okay, he definitely is thinking about at least denying professional scouts, and maybe is thinking about going professional scouts himself as well. So I think, hey, it's all good. I'm just going to go back to this deer pack over here. And as you can see with my other hunting cabin, I'm building additional scouts. And this is the easiest part of the entire thing. You've rallied up to 12 on food, so all of your villagers building the Golden Gate back onto food, maybe 1 or 2 more villagers, and now I'm rallying onto wood for the foreseeable future. It's for a really long time, and there's really nothing to do. I could have pushed these deer in a little bit closer to my base if I wanted. I was a bit lazy, but essentially I've gone up to 5 scouts, and now I'm simply just waiting for professional scouts to complete. So there's nothing to do. I've decided to build a wooden fortress to increase the lumber gathering rate. You definitely want to do that once you have 175 wood to build this. It really helps out on the wood economy. So as soon as you can, make sure you get this down. I'd like to build it with a couple of villagers just to get it up, because it does pay off over a longer period of time. So he's guarding this pretty effectively. He's guarding this one pretty effectively, definitely being defensive on his deer packs. But you can see that professional scouts comes through, and immediately I'm collecting the deer on my side. I also have researched survival techniques for increased gather rate on hunted meat. So make sure you get that as well. I literally built 2 scouts from this one and then queued up the survival techniques right here. You can see I drop these off, and immediately I take these villagers, I garrison them into the town center and go across. That's a bit of a trick you can do, where you highlight the villagers, you right click on the meat, you press G to garrison, and then you press D on the town center to let them kind of come out on the other side, just to save a little bit of walking time. Not necessary though, but just a little bit of a fast trick in case you didn't know you could do that. I'm microing my scouts a little bit because I only needed 2 to come back onto this side, and then I'm sending the rest over onto my other safe deer pack, because I don't really want to fight him in feudal age. My goal is to get to castle age and to immediately move into horse archers. And I'm going to show you exactly what you want to be doing with those horse archers very soon. I sold a couple more things of wood here just to get closer to that 600 gold threshold for castle age. And now I'm kind of just waiting for all of these people who are harvesting very quickly from the deer to be dropping off. And very soon I'm going to be going up to castle with, you guessed it, the High Trade House. And I put the High Trade House here because, of course, that is a super juicy one with all the different trees all around. And the High Trade House can overlap with hunting cabins, so I'm getting the full value of all these trees within this radius. He is starting to annoy me a little bit with some raiding, but here's a bit of a trick. I run into the stealth forest to kind of, distract him. I then move back across on this side, and then I just come back and I pick up this deer. So he kind of gets distracted, and as a result, I'm able to kind of do that. So if your opponent only has a couple of units there, it's not necessary to, immediately run all the way home. You can just kind of do a bit of a loop and then see if you can sneak one back. And that's exactly what he's able to do here. Again, going up with 8 on the High Trade House, I think is a really good number. And in the meantime, I'm building 3 archery ranges in preparation for that Castle Age horse archer, essentially rush coming in. He does have a gilded horseman continuing to annoy me, but I just sneak another one up here and I steal a couple deer from this side. So again, always keeping my scouts active, trying to get as many deer as I can, understanding we're both going for pro scouts, and any deer I can grab from him is denied, and anything he can stop from me is also denied, right? So He's got 2 spears up on this side. He's going up with the Burgrave Palace, and that actually changes to the Regnitz Cathedral, which is pretty interesting. Again, I come up this way looking for any potential extra deer. Don't see any, so now I'm rallying across and trying to tackle this. You can see that I am immediately queuing up as many horse archers as I can and kind of making 3 at a time. I built a stable thinking I might be moving into knights. I end up not using this, so this was a bit of a mistake by me. Don't commit to a secondary unit composition until you kind of have a better understanding of what your opponent is trying to do, I would say. I also immediately build a blacksmith and go with ranged damage. And then I see that he has gone the Regnitz Cathedral, or is going the Regnitz Cathedral, I should say. And so I start to construct a monastery because I want to get some of those relics before he does, definitely. I do try and grab some of these. Unfortunately, the military units on his side do a good job of causing problems for me. And you can see just not pulling my scout far enough back. And I try to do a little bit of damage. These Gilded Horsemen really are quite tanky. The one thing about the Horse Archers is you do want to, as best as you can, be kind of kiting back and forth. Here you can see I'm a bit distracted elsewhere on the map. But the most important thing is my Horse Archer production is constant. It never stops. It does not slow down. So I'm constantly making them the entire time. You can see I also have a warrior monk coming out here to try and grab some of the far relics as well. And again, I'm just trying to destroy his army because this is all that he had at this point. I have a bunch of these guys coming in. I start to move these back, I think. Maybe I don't. Maybe I just stand here and fight it, knowing that these are going to come in quickly. I'm researching Boyar's Fortitude for additional health as well on my horse archers. This guy was kind of going in, trying to cause some problems. Ended up getting a little bit of idle time on his villagers, but nothing too intense. I do see, somehow with my scout, I think, that there was a prelate coming in this direction. I look and I realize, yeah, my warrior monk's going to get there faster, so that's fine. And then I decide to use these horse archers to guard this relic as best as I can. You can see, constant horse archer production has not slowed down in the slightest. You can see I've run out of food a little bit here. I think I go into the Golden Gate and potentially sell a little bit of wood and buy a bit of food on the other side. But the entire time, I have still been rallying to the wood. Probably a little bit too much. You'll see I'll pull off a couple of these to get onto these deer that are coming from the High Trade House. But it's working. He does manage to distract me with these horsemen and pick up this relic, so he's going to be able to get, I believe, 2 of the 3. So definitely a good place to be in against a Order of the Dragon player who went for Regnitz Cathedral looking for that extreme bonus gold. But here's where things get interesting. I'm over here with 3 horse archers just in case he sent one around, but I'm going to be able to pick that one up no problem. And this warrior monk was originally rallied to this far one, but as a result of seeing that was off the map, I then move him and collect this relic over here for the total of 3. And now, what do? You have this mass of relatively squishy horse archers. How do you best use them? Well, I'm about to show you, because this is how I was able to win this game in very good fashion. As a result of having increased range damage, this mass of horse archers does a huge amount of damage to these Gilded Horsemen now, and you'll see that I am fully focused on killing some of the weak prelate units, and then fully focused on kiting. No more standing and fighting. I'm going step by step, staggering my shots, and kiting backwards with these units, and that is the best way to use them. You can see he has another mass coming over in this direction. I managed to cut them off a little bit, doing some additional damage, and consistent horse archer production. I have not slowed down for more than a second this entire time, constantly pressing out. Now, I'm just trying to whittle down his forces. I see that he's going a little bit of archers as well, so I want to make sure that he isn't able to get a significant mass of that, so I take down an archer and come back. And now, I see there's a tiny gap through this tree line, and I'm going to try and loop around onto the gold, because I know he's going to be sitting there and collecting some gold. I see another prelate, a freebie for me. I take it. I stop this prelate from being able to capture the sacred site as well. And you can see I have kind of 2 separate groups of horse archers at any given time. There's the one main force, and then I use kind of 3 or 4 just to kind of protect or hold off. He misrallies at this point, and these villagers end up walking back towards garrisoning into this tower. I take out this gilded crossbowman, and again, I'm just kiting back. I'm collecting all my horse archers in one spot, and going step by step backwards. He brings his scouts too far forward. I managed to take those out. I've moved out now onto the berries just for some additional food because I only did get the 2 deer packs plus a couple of extras. So I am starting to run out of that deer on this side. Horse archer production continued to be constant. I have the 3 relics. Soon I'm going to be getting some additional... I have the double range damage. Probably going to get some range defense and also melee defense. And now I have to figure out what I'm trying to attack because I know that I've pushed him off the gold. But where's the next best place? And here's where I decide to loop around the other side, just to see if he's not there, he has to be somewhere else. And that's something you have to consider when you're playing this game in general, is that even though in Fog of War it looks like there's nothing there, he has to be somewhere else. He has to have his villagers doing something. They're not just standing idle. They're not all collecting wood behind his base. They're somewhere else, and it's your job with this kind of a comp to find them. I've split off a group to go and look at this gold mine here to see if he's over there. I come over to this side, I see there's some on the stone outcropping, and once again, I'm just kiting back, trying to do some damage. He's left these villagers here, and I spot that. I end up doing some more villager kills over on this side. He's trying to do an outpost to defend. Very quickly, I start to do damage, and you can see these are Order of the Dragon villagers, gilded villagers, and I am simply melting them. This is the kind of a mass you want to get to. If you have 3 or 4 or 6 or even 8 horse archers, that's fine. But once you get to this mass of like 17, that's when you're going to be doing massive damage and causing major problems for your opponent. Again, I'm trying to loop around and see if there's anything going on this side, just to scout it out. There is nothing, so I then decide to move these guys back and kind of recollect my force in one area. So I've had 8 villager kills. Of course, Order of the Dragon produces villagers more slowly, so I'm in the driver's seat at this point. Again, I'm jumping back and forth and back and forth. And it's at this time that I think, okay, what can I do? I could definitely continue maybe moving on to the next stage. I think a good choice would be to build some barracks. So I have all this wood that I've been collecting thanks to my constant rallying towards this wood line. I decided to build 3 barracks and going up with the veteran spearmen as well. Made some spearmen, and then I've also gone into the blacksmith to get siege engineering because I know he's got a bunch of towers. Now I'm raiding on this side, causing more problems. He has 8 in the town center, but I don't really care. I'm just trying to kill as many villagers as I can get my hands on. And you can see I'm getting some that are around this corner. There's another one that has rallied towards this tower. I'm just trying to kill a couple of these archers. He's very slow to react with his horsemen. So I can stand underneath this TC a little bit, even without... Oh, I do have double range defense. Okay, good. Yeah, I was going to say, it might have been a mistake by me, but doing that once I have double range defense is okay. I want to get out of there, away from the Springle Tower, away from the TC fire, in order to start cutting these horsemen. Use the movement to get out of the range, and then start to do that back and forth. And he does a decent job kind of cleaning up my force, but I now have 21 villager kills. And I do something sneaky here. My spearmen are in this mass. I kind of pull back, and suddenly it's my spearmen who are on the front line, and they do massive damage to these gilded horsemen, and that's a major problem for his side. So I am in great shape here. I could do a lot of different things. I could easily buy myself a second town center if I wanted. I could also have captured the sacred sites with these 2 guys who have just been sitting here the whole game. That's a mistake on my end. Again, I'm patrolling the second gold mine just to make sure he's not out there, kind of trying to get up to the next stage himself. And here's where I decide, no, I'm going to buy a bunch of wood, because I did need some from the Golden Gate, and I'm just going to start making myself some battering rams. Now, I'm making battering rams here. It's going to take a while based on the number of spearmen I have. I am trying to mass those numbers up as quickly as I can. Again, continuing to build those horse archers. I have not stopped this whole time. But as soon as that's been happening, I say, well, I don't want to just have these guys sitting here not doing anything. I've recollected the ones who are over on this gold vein because there's nothing to defend there. I was just double checking. And once again, I'm going around to the other side. I'm just kind of poking and prodding, side by side, trying to do as much damage as I can. I come down here. I see this is where he's got some farms going. Some amazing villager kills here as well. I still have that incredible mass. It's almost enough to take out the Gilded Horsemen in a single punch. I brought my warrior monks to the front to inspire myself. I kill all of his prelates. He has a very small army. The villager kills is just simply too much, and I completely overwhelm my opponent. And this is the kind of thing that you can do with those horse archers and you can do with Rus on Gorge. It was a very simple game. I did not do very much other than just kind of back and forth, causing problems, poking away, killing villagers here and there. And before you know it, you have a villager kill that's like, close to that, 20-30 mark. And it's just really, really handy. So that's my guide for Rus on Gorge. I implore you to check it out if you are not familiar with Rus, because it is a very simple strategy and you're going to be able to overwhelm a lot of your opponents, because the civilization is extremely strong itself, and that map just kind of suits all of its strengths perfectly. So thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. I'm going to be getting some more guides out before the end of the season at this point, and also some more team game stuff coming your way. So thank you again so much for watching. It's really awesome to see the growth of the channel so far. So thank you for all the support. We'll keep things going, and in the meantime, have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.